What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Roo.
Welcome to Couch in the Roo, presented by Pure Options Precision Crafted Cannabis. Pure Options Midtown Lansing location now has the Good Truckin' Food Truck open there for your enjoyment. If you've never been to Good Truckin' Food Truck, I'd start this over, but we're live. If you've never been to the Good Truckin' Diner, you probably don't know the Good Truckin' Food Truck. It is fantastic food and is there for you to enjoy the beautiful weather, take part in cool events happening in Lansing in the next few weeks, and will be right now is at the Midtown location for Pure Options. So enjoy their fantastic food and then swing on by Pure Options or any of their locations. Go to pureoptions.com to find the one nearest you. Jason, how you doing, brother?
Right now, either you're stuttering or I'm not picking it up because it's a what. So
what's up, buddy? I love when we say that we're going to be on a certain day and then a time and people are like, what the hell? What's going on?
Yeah.
Matt M. Late today also. How many water heaters does Rube have? That was funny. Oh, my goodness.
Is the water heater fixed?
No.
Okay.
It was for a brief minute when the plumber came out and kind of showed me up, made me look not like a man. I felt like, because all he had to do was basically turn the pilot light on, which I tried. And failed, but then it went off anyway, and then I turned it on this morning, took a quick shower, and then it went off. So the water heater thing, and it's a brand new water heater.
So wait a sec, he didn't fix it. He left thinking he fixed it and did not.
He showed up and then basically he's like, oh, look at this unmanly dude who doesn't know how to turn a pilot light on. Turned the pilot light on, didn't charge me. It was like, well, if it goes out again, you're pretty much screwed. So and then left. So it didn't charge me. It was contractors. Yeah. But anyway, so
and we could have done yesterday's show if we'd known he was going to show up at 6 o'clock in Ovid.
True.
That was the other thing.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could have called that, but when they tell you certain times, you have to
be there.
And Treese is in Philly, so I had to, it was like we need our water heated. So I was like, I didn't know what to do. Yeah. So, I mean, I pretty much, if you would have given me like a little sprinkle money on what time you would have showed up, I would have probably sprinkled it on 6 to 7.
Yeah.
Which
it was.
That's usually how it goes.
And we could have done the show. But nonetheless, we're here today at whatever time we were finally able to start. Happy to dig into our hot takes and yours. And hopefully you've got some Pure Options in your system and you are ready to listen as well. Yeah. Do we want to just start digging into our hot takes?
I guess so. What else is there to wait for?
All right. You want to go first?
Yeah. Oh, the breaking news. Might as well use the breaking news stinger here. Joey Chestnut. Joey Chestnut is out of the 2024 Nathan's hot dog eating contest because he's promoting vegan Franks. Is that breaking news or what? If July 4th with no Joey Chestnut, who was at Lugnut Stadium, we watched him eat. What was he eating? Oh yeah, olive burgers. He ate like a ton of olive burgers. But how are you going to have the hot dog eating contest? By the way, this vegan hot dog company paying Chestnut $200,000 to promote them. I don't blame him.
I would skip the contest too.
How much money has this dude made from just hammering food? It's got to be over $1 million, right? It's pretty impressive.
That's why I do it. I was told there was more money in it.
You've only done it once though. You did the hot dog or the donut eating challenge.
Only did it once on air. I would say after midnight, I've done it a few times.
Right. I'm saying on the show.
Yes,
I think we needed to bring it back. Maybe July. What is something that you could eat? Could you do maybe you fill in for Joey Chestnut on the show?
My doctor says I'm not allowed to anymore.
Oh, so Elizabeth is a doctor now?
A real doctor also has told me. But I probably shouldn't have shared that with my doctor that we did the donut eating contest.
Oh, why? You wait, hold on a second. You needed a doctor to tell you that wasn't healthy?
Well, I mean,
no shit.
It was healthy for a man in his 30s, and a man in his 40s maybe not is advisable. Love groovy donuts. Won't stop eating groovy donuts, just not doing like 10 and 9 minutes
anymore. Doc, what about the other guy drinking 15 beers in an hour and a half? Was that healthy either? I was really surprised my pancreas took his shit out of me. It's crazy.
Yeah, I brought you up as well, for sure.
Speaking of, I'll just do this one as well. Tyreek Hill apparently had never had a donut in his life. I'm going backwards. I'm going from the bottom to the top here. Tyreek Hill, I have a little audio. I don't know if it's any good or not, but do you believe that he's never eaten a donut? Just listen to this. Hold on.
It looks good, but...
Whoop, hold on.
Oh, wait. Ooh, that's kind of good. The first part, not good, though.
Really? Do you believe that? I know that he's like an elite athlete, the cheetah, blah, 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 but I mean, right, you got to have a donut no matter who you are.
I guess if he wasn't introduced to you as a child, I could see it.
Oh, here we go.
I'm just saying, there are things that I've never had.
How was it not introduced?
I don't know. I've never had certain things.
When you were younger, a donut?
Well, a donut was for me, yeah. I mean, do you think I missed donuts? No, of course not.
I understand that, but I mean, like, if you're from America, I just don't know how hard it is to get a donut. Like, really? You excluded donuts from your diet for that long? It's impressive.
It is impressive.
And what's the first part? He doesn't like the first part of the donut?
He's got the wrong kind of donut. Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. I'll give you my first hot take. Wrote a column on this that is going up at the LSJ, a 3 quick takes column for people. But I'll give you one of the takes here that I was thinking about as I looked at a column from a couple years ago. I'm gonna read you, Jason, the lead from my column from this week just 2 years ago.
Cockburn.
Cool. Whenever you're ready.
It's way too early to call Mel Tucker a $95 million bargain.
Yeah, we don't have enough time for all of that.
But this is the sort of recruiting that might one day get him there. And a few graphs later, Tucker and his staff have created recruiting momentum in a short burst beyond anything this program has ever experienced. That's not hyperbole. And the thing is, the column wasn't hyperbole. It did not age well. Certainly didn't last. He was not worth it.
You weren't wrong, though.
But I wasn't wrong at the moment. What's so amazing is how in 2 years, which feels like 50 in MSU years, in 2 years, they went from that, if you remember, June 2022, with all the fancy cars and fancy gear and thrones and everything at Spartan Stadium, and all the 4 stars who were committing, and how all that buzz about Mel Tucker was sort of the end of the height of the Mel Tucker era, which probably started the previous September in Miami when they won that game and ended with that summer 2022 recruiting. That was just 2 years ago. And I think one thing that's interesting, and you can sense it now, that MSU fans are not as into recruiting. I think most college sports fans get that a lot of these guys will never show up. Some of these guys will transfer out anyway. But I think beyond in college football at large, I'm sure that exists. I think MSU fans, the fall from that buzz that was there in 2022, just 2 years ago, I don't think MSU fans will ever allow themselves to get caught up in recruiting the same way again. I think it was so exciting, such a moment in time. It felt like MSU was rising with the big boys. And Mel Tucker did sign 9 4-star recruits just a few months later in December. 5 of them are still in the program. So it's not like it was a complete waste. And I do believe that what Mel Tucker was built to do and was trying to do might have worked in 2017. What the world changed on him too. And all of a sudden, it wasn't just about showing off the Lamborghinis. You had to give the players one of these Lamborghinis too. And MSU is a collective. Their NIL collective, their entire operation was not quite ready for when that became the currency in college football. But it was just 2 years ago. You think about how much has changed in 2 years. How you felt about MSU football. How you felt about Mel Tucker. All the emotions and the swings and the highs and the lows since then to this moment now. I do not think MSU football fans will ever fall for June again, no matter who you bring in, because people won't trust that they're going to sign. People won't trust that they're not going to transfer. I guess if over the course of 6 or 7 years, Jonathan Smith started to recruit really well and guys were staying and the NIL situation was solid and people stopped fearing that and they didn't feel like they were just about to have the rug pulled out from under them, that they might allow themselves to get there again. But I honestly don't know how recruiting sites generate income at this point. I don't understand. I just don't think people are that into it. They've had a couple guys, 3-star recruits. Again, 3-star recruits are never exciting, but 3-star recruits this past week. I think they've got 7 signed for 2025. Most people couldn't name 1 or 2 of them.
Are the recruiting sites also doing the transfer portal updates, right? So you do a little bit of both.
They're alive. I mean, On3 is in bed with the whole world. They're like sponsoring half these things. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying these places don't have value and there isn't some interest in recruiting, and I think basketball recruiting still has some oomph to it in the transfer portal. But it is amazing to me, 2 years ago, just 2 years ago this week, was that column and how quickly things have changed.
But also, I think in another 2 years, I think it could change again. Like you said, with Jonathan Smith, if Michigan State ends up winning 7 or 8 games, I think people would be intrigued by June and talking a little bit of recruiting. If he turns this into an offensive line factory like he did at Oregon State, I'm going to be excited about offensive line recruits. I mean, I'm not super into it, but I just think, people didn't have enough time to trust Mel Tucker. I think they liked the way things were going with him, as did I as well, because with the pandemic, he's on social media, he's doing all the right things, he's got the fast cars there, the players love that kind of stuff. So I just think, I don't know, for some reason, I just really have a lot of faith in Jonathan Smith, and it's all gut feel, because obviously I have no idea.
Well, the big thing is you don't need swagger anymore. If you're going to spend money on a coach these days, you want to spend money on a ball coach, a guy who is going to maximize the talent on your roster and create a culture that sort of sustains itself in this very transactional environment, right? And that's what you want to spend your money on. I mean, Jim Harbaugh was great at that. He did not have he had a very talented roster. He was helped by the extra year and all that stuff. But he did not have the most talented roster in college football, not in terms of stars, not even close. What he did was he was a really good coach. And obviously people have, rightly feel certain ways about him. But what you are looking for is somebody who maximizes your roster. Now, if you're going to spend big on coaches at all, and I think you do have to spend on them for the sake of continuity, because in this world, the last thing you want is a coach to leave and your entire roster to go with them. So there is that component of it still. But the element of swagger, the element of put them out on Spartan Stadium with a fancy car,
yeah, we can still do that if the players like it,
Well, you just got to make sure that car is in their dorm driveway when they show up and enroll.
Did you see that video of the practice facility, Texas football? Like there was 6 Lamborghinis just lined up. It's
incredible.
Good Lord.
What is your next hot take?
Well, speaking of college athletics, Danny Hurley said no to the Lakers. I don't think I was very surprised for 2 simple facts. A, it was only $20 million more, and B, who doesn't want to go for the three-peat? Because I think he could really do it, and no one's ever done it before, and that would put you in a legendary coaching category. And also, do you really want to deal with the Bronny thing, and LeBron is going to be in control of your roster? I mean, I know it was a lot of money, but he's still going to get $50 million at UConn. He's going to get broke off a ton of money no matter where he goes. So I thought it was a smart move. And by the way, is the Lakers' job, is that a desired? I mean, as far as the NBA goes as a whole, I mean, the Lakers' job, of course, people, there's coaches that want it, but coaches are getting fired midway through the season, like Griffin with the Bucks. He had one of the best records in the league. I get it that he lost the locker room, but these guys are getting shit canned. And then if you do that, if you're Danny Hurley, and you go back, let's say maybe to UConn, if you did take that job, it just kind of tarnishes your legacy you have going on. Go for that three-peat. I think the NBA job will be there whenever you want it.
It will be. And it's true, the Lakers, there is a mystique to the Lakers. But I'm not sure in terms of having a chance to win titles in the next 5-6 years.
Yeah, but LeBron Lakers guts that team, though. When he's gone, he's gone.
Right. Well, that's the thing. And he's going to be gone shortly after, and Anthony Davis is beyond, Yeah, and the idea that you could be a legend, you could be, the idea of going for 3, not something people haven't done since John Wooden, to have a statue somewhere for sure. If I was going to the NBA and I had the leverage I think that Hurley does, I would want more than 6 years. I would want the length of that contract to be as such that you're actually going to get time. Because you're right, good coaches get fired all the time, no matter if they're good coaches, because it's not a coaches league, it's a players league. College basketball is a coaches league. How much money do you actually need for the money they're paying them? And the Lakers, by the way, were offering them less than the Pistons gave Monty Williams.
by a lot.
So like it wasn't even that great a deal. I totally understood why he
and that was a lot of bravado from the Lakers, right? We're the Lakers, here's $70 million. If you're Detroit, you probably have to offer Danny Hurley $200 million.
All right, my next hot take. I'm out on the Detroit Tigers. I'm just out.
Hold on.
I'm out for a while.
All right, well, if you're out, we got to play this.
Buenos tardes. It is time for the Detroit Tigers Gambling Update with Gramanito Couch and Jason Nick.
No Nationals? No?
No, I'm not talking about betting. I'm just
One
out.
for the road? Oh.
I'm just out. And I was listening to Evan Petzel's Days of Roar podcast. It's a nice. They do a nice job. And he's the beat writer for the Detroit Free Press. But a couple things. One, and he's right. He talked about the idea that the Tigers need to give their fans a timeline because some of the evidence suggests that their timeline is 2026, 27. And if that's the timeline, they just need to say that to people and see if they'll hang on. Because
I'd rather be lied to.
And then he talked, and he said it again. He thinks there's no way that they hang on to Tarek Skubal.
No.
He thinks there's
no way.
Basically says he's gone.
I'm out.
And he just, right, exactly. Right. So for me to get into a team, the thing I liked about the Tigers, even on their way up, even as a middling team, even during their struggles, was they were starting to have guys who would be part of the future. So you can at least watch Tarek Skubal. If he's going to be your ace the next 5-6 years, you get to enjoy that. You can at least watch, Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson, if they're going to be part of the future.
Well, Torque we don't know about.
Correct. And so if Skuball's not going to be part of the future, Torkelson's in AAA. The hell, Riley Green's semi-consistent. Like, what do the Tigers actually have on the roster that's going to be around? And it's just, to me, it's not worth my time. And until I know where they're invested, what's your timeline? What's the type of thing you want to do with a player like Skubal when you have a special talent? And apparently he says they have injury concerns with him in terms of long haul, paying him massive amounts of money. Hey, you know what?
That's what cheap people say.
It's a non-salary cap sport. You don't sell the mother effing team,
cheap ownership,
or pay it. And if he gets hurt, you buy another one. I mean, I'm sick of people acting like that's not a thing. If you're an owner and you can't afford that, sell the team or open the books and explain why. Because people will show up. If you go back 10 years to when the Tigers were really good and it was a Tuesday or Wednesday, people were showing up to Comerica Park to watch games because they were good. People will show up. The money will be there. You have to invest. You have to compete for people to want to invest in your club. And right now they're not doing it at the point that's worth my time. And if I can't even enjoy every fifth day start of Tarek Skubal because he's not going to be part of the future, then fuck this. I'm out. I'm just out. I'm done with Bally's. I'm out for the summer. I got other things to do.
You should be done with them.
The Euros are starting. I got other things I can work on. There is zero need for me to spend an hour on the Tigers. I am done watching the Tigers until we hear something from Scott Harris, who is a poor communicator, or from Chris Ilitch, who might just be a poor owner, or from somebody who can explain what the plan is. I just don't have time for it. It's just a waste of my freaking time. I think it's a waste of your time. I'm not saying people should do what they enjoy. If you enjoy baseball, you enjoy the Tigers, watch the Tigers. I'm out. That's where I'm at on the Tigers.
Is there a trade?
Can't even gamble on them. The other day, Skuball's pitching, so I take the under. The Tigers have an 8-run inning. Mm-hmm. You can't even win on the under. Like, there's nothing the Tigers offer now. You can't even gamble on them, and there's nothing in terms of the actual team that's enjoyable. I'm completely out.
Is there a Skubal trade that would make, like, if they just got an absolute Herschel Walker type, like, just haul from some team that wanted it, would it make you feel any better? Because I know I'm such a phony. Because I'm dead inside with the Lions now. I'm fully back in. I'm going to freaking away games now. So if I say I'm done with the Tigers, it's just
No, this is.
I want to be forever, but it's just
no. I'm not done. I'm not done forever. This is the.
I'm talking forever.
But this is the pinnacle of Skuball's value right now.
Right, that's what I mean. But if they're going to keep getting rid of these guys, right, what are we doing? What are we coming to the park for?
If he walks, it's unforgivable. If you're going to let him go anyway, you trade him now, today. Get on with it, brother. This is a Stringer Bell moment when he's being shot. Just get on.
Does Scott Harris know the plan? Do you think? Because would he still want this job if you have to trade guys like Skubal? It's just a never-ending uphill climb for him. If you sitting there and you're handcuffed by your owner. It's just sucks.
I'm just mad at myself that I've wasted some time thinking they were starting to care. And I'm not saying they don't care. That's the wrong word.
But the players do, you know.
And I think ownership, or I think Scott Harris cares. I just don't think he is.
It's hard to get mad at him
on the same timeline. And as I need them to be, and if he's not, I just and I think Petzold on his podcast did a good job of this, explaining the fans are owed that explanation. We may not like it. We can all make our own decision whether we want to pay attention after that. But we're owed that explanation.
But why, if you're ownership and you want, like, you're not going to spend and you don't want to give that timeline because your fans are going to get pissed off? Because if they give us a timeline, they say 26, 27, are you going to go to any games this year? No. Next year, are you going to plan to go to games? No.
And also,
so why would they say it?
You know, people need to stop talking about, well, they're 10 games out of, first place in the Central. They're like 2 games out of the wild card, right? This is, in baseball, the regular season has almost nothing to do with the postseason, and 47 teams get in now. They're not completely out of it. Stop talking about the Central Division as if it's the only path.
So what if they don't trade Flaherty, though? Is that a good sign if they don't trade him by the deadline?
I don't mind them trading guys who aren't part of the future to try and get something for them.
Well, I'm just saying, will it give us a glimpse into the future? If they don't trade Flaherty,
they ought to trade him. Jesus. I don't mind that one. But I'm done until there's some direction, and I'm just done. And I think more and more people will. I think they'd be wise financially. I think they would be wise to start to talk.
We need a scandal. We need a Chris Ilitch scandal. There's got to be some dirt on the guy. What can we dig up? Anybody? Anybody have anything? It's the only way to get him out of here.
What's your next hot take?
The Caitlin Clark thing. She's left off the USA basketball team. Do you think it's a big deal? I think it's great for the WNBA. I just think that you have to build these kind of narratives if you're going to, for the future of the WNBA. I know that a lot of people don't. It's really amazing how people want to tell you how much they don't care about this. I do like women's basketball. I want to be able to like women's basketball. But it's really, the WNBA, there's tiptoeing on the edge of really screwing this whole thing up. And I agree with leaving her off the team. I think she needs to have that Michael Jordan, like the off season where she's bulking up, like videos of her working out and stuff, and to go into next season. She's going to make a ton of Olympic teams for the rest of her career. She's probably going to play till she's 40, 45 years old. So I don't think it's everybody freaking out. I think it's crazy because of the TV ratings, and especially I'm sure NBC definitely would like to have her in the Olympics for the viewership. But I think for the WNBA going forward, I think it was a good move to leave her off the USA team.
So I don't think for Caitlin Clark, in some ways it's helpful. You could tell she needs a break. I mean, the way the WNBA season is set up, where they finish their college season, they've been grinding since last summer, and all of a sudden it's like, boom, you're playing professional basketball.
But it helps build a narrative, too, that she's been screwed over and all that stuff.
Sure, yeah. But she's, I think, happy to have the break, and they get a break in the middle of the season.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is, where I think it's a mistake is like women's basketball is not one of the premier things we watch in the Olympics. And that's not even a knock on women's basketball. There's a lot there. But swimming, gymnastics, track and field, these are like the core sports. And the Dream Team made the men's basketball a bigger deal over there. But the core sports, and women's basketball has never been part of that. And if you have this amazing product, even if she'd be playing like 8 minutes a game, and you want to introduce it to people, and worldwide, and I've listened to some interviews where people were talking about reporters in England and New Zealand, people all over the world excited to cover her. And it would have been a circus to some degree beyond what was warranted. But I also think you would have introduced your team, your U.S. team, and the talent that's on that team to a lot more people than you will now. And that's a detriment to them. I know somebody would have had to get left off. But I would.
That's the question. Like, who are you going to leave off? And
yeah, but nobody gets left.
Like 42 years old.
Nobody gets left off if you just pick her first. Now, at this point, there is one player who may have a situation with an injury, and maybe she'll wind up being on it. I think it was a mistake. Yeah, I just think it was a mistake in the sense that there was an opportunity lost. I don't think it's that big. It's not like. It's not like the Caitlin Clark fans of the world, and I don't even understand it. Like
Greg Doyle?
Like, I enjoy Caitlin Clark's game, but I don't enjoy it more than Steph Curry. I hope everybody who's obsessed with Caitlin Clark is obsessed with Steph Curry. It's the same game. Like, you should have, if you're obsessed with Caitlin Clark, you should have NBA League Pass and be watching the Warriors. I mean, I'm telling you right now, it's the same game. It's great. I'm just saying, I don't really understand the obsession. I love watching her play. I think she's great. The obsession is gotten bizarre at this point. It truly is bizarre. I mean, she's handled it well, but it's It's really, really.
But isn't that like anything else though that gets popular really quickly and everybody wants a piece and it just becomes weird?
It's we've made it weird.
Yeah.
We starting with Greg Doyle on down. We've made it weird.
Poor Greg.
All right, my third hot take. Marry somebody who complements your weaknesses.
Did that.
Yesterday, sitting in my recliner, not too far from the fireplace, I again hear some fluttering. And
Your heart?
usually it's my heart for Elizabeth. This time, a bird. Couldn't tell if it was a bird or a bat. Had to make sure it wasn't a bat, because if it's a bat, it's going to stay in there and die. But we're able to decipher it was a bird. It's getting near dusk, so that's why I was concerned it could be a bat. So to get this bird out, we have a system in our house. We no longer call the wildlife people. We did that for a while. I am certainly not going to get close to the bird. I'm not going to touch it. I couldn't handle it flying at me. Heart would stop, all that stuff. We open both windows in the living room. I take a massive blanket, and I go in the walkway between the living room and dining room, and I hold the blanket up on both edges so it won't fly into the rest of the house. She, meanwhile, opens the door and the flue and helps the thing get out. And the thing always flies. The bird always flies immediately out of the house. It always flies right to the open sky. It wants out. It does not want to be in your furnace. But if it wasn't for my wife, that bird would still be in the chimney. It would probably die. Maybe I'd spend a couple $100 to get a wildlife person over there to rescue it the next day or so. But my wife can handle that, and I can't. Never will be able to. So marry somebody who's more of a man than you are, or marry somebody who at least complements your greatest weaknesses, because that's what I've done, and it makes my life a whole lot better.
Your goal was to trap it with a blanket.
No. So what?
Or you were just trying.
I'm first of all, I'm blocking my face from being near this thing.
Yeah, that's smart.
And then I'm preventing it from getting the rest of the house. Yeah. But blocking it in case it decides for some reason not to go toward the window. I blocked the whole area with this massive blanket.
Because right? They just want to get out of there. You
Correct.
just said it. So why didn't you just open up?
I don't trust wild beasts. I don't trust animals. I don't trust wildlife. They're
What kind of bird was it?
Their brains are too small. These little morons. We got to get a cap on the chimney, but it's really high, and a lot of people won't go up that high, and we just got to get one done. I got to do it this week. I got to find a way to get somebody out there to do it.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, that is my third and final hot take. Are we ready to dig into these listener hot takes?
Yeah.
Excellent.
First up is Kurt Wisniewski. The Celtics-Mavs final shows how far behind the Pistons are to be a capable NBA franchise. Bake take. This past 2 weeks have been loaded with high school graduation parties. One had donuts as their dessert. Proves that donuts are an elite all-day consumable.
Donuts are memorable. Kurt remembers this one. He will remember this high school graduation party more than others. I'm telling you, it improves.
How do you not have donuts, though?
They improve every party. People have cake. People do this. Everybody's got a tuna salad, casserole or something. Have a cake. Have a donut. Have a donut. To his first point on the Pistons versus the Celtics Mavs, the whole playoffs has been interesting because you're right. It does. You see different teams and you start to think this is how a team has to be constructed, and where are the Pistons in terms of constructing a team like this. There's a while where I get real worried about the Pistons in the sense that, to me, you're eventually going to have to pay a couple guys. And it's very clear that those guys need to be, at least one of them, like a top 5 NBA player if you're going to have a chance. And so the problem for the Pistons is Cade doesn't look like he's ever going to be a top 5 guy, maybe that next tier. But if you don't have him, then you're still going to have to find that guy. What the Celtics make you feel good about is the Celtics have built a roster more similar, actually, to the 2004 Pistons in a lot of ways. They have a big man with great length who can stretch a defense, who's got just a good feel for the game. They've got length on the wings. They've got smart guards. They've got two guys who are probably ranked between 6 and 11 or 12 in the NBA, which is great to have. But overall, it's a much greater ensemble than I think a lot of the teams we're seeing, and I think that's hopeful when you look at. Yeah, I mean the Pistons basically. I think like Asar can be a really good part of an ensemble. I think Cade can be a building block in that, but they're going to have to go out and start putting together the pieces like this and make smart trades. And it was clear Troy Weaver did not have as much as he had a keen eye for talent in certain ways, did not have the roster construction gene or foresight, and so you got to give somebody else a chance.
Peasy up next. The Celtics have like 4 guys who would be the second best player on a playoff team. How on earth was this allowed to happen? 5-game sweep incoming. Bonus, Matt Vierling will be an all-star at some point.
Well, every team gets one, so you never know. The Tigers,
yeah.
he may be the last guy left.
No pitcher, though? He's going to have to make it.
Yeah.
That's a hot take. Is that a baked take? Did you not put baked in front of it?
Yeah, that's very much very much a pure options.
Have you seen that guy at third base at all?
Yeah, it's
wow.
Okay, so it takes other teams making mistakes. Like the Damian Lillard thing that sent Drew Holiday to Portland is what allowed him to wind up in Boston. It takes teams giving up on Porzingis. It takes people making mistakes, and it takes having some balls to send a guy like Marcus Smart, who's beloved, sort of heart of the team, but isn't a great point guard, not a great feel for the offense type guy. Getting rid of him and developing a young guy. They've just done it really well. Brad Stevens deserves a load of credit, and to be honest, they're an expensive team too, and so they won't be able to hold on to all these guys forever. But I do think they have another year of just about everybody under contract.
Munfield Keg next. MSU minus 11.5 over Florida Atlantic in the opener is a lock. That's it. That's the take.
I haven't done enough research on Florida Atlantic. Everybody keeps saying that. I think it's
probably crush some tape.
It's probably a good bet. I do love it as a teaser, because it's a real easy teaser. 6-point teaser gets you under a touchdown, right? So that starts to get. If you can find another game to tease it with, as you get closer, I think it's probably a smart teaser. But
I think, like you said, look into Florida Atlantic first.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know what we're dealing with.
Skylar Verd next. Iowa is the most overrated team in all of college football the last 5 years. They are constantly propped up by a weak Big Ten West, and the media's need to try to make the Big Ten championship game exciting. They will fade with the West Division gone, and MSU's game against them this season is 50-50.
Yeah, it's in East Lansing, which I think gives them. I think Michigan State's absolutely got a shot. Last year's disaster of a Michigan State season, if you recall, was they should have won at Iowa. Now, Iowa did have the quarterback injury in the middle, but I don't think the gap between Iowa and Michigan State is talent-wise is anything. They have
one of the worst offenses in college football history.
Yeah, I think they'll be a little bit better this year with Tim Lester than they were with old boy Son. But I don't. They have a culture that wins, that knows how to win, that wins, and some of that is based on repeatedly playing teams in the West. But there are a lot of teams in the West too that, they do have something to them. They do win close games. They do play to who they are. There are lots of things about them that have allowed them to have a slight edge. But there's no question the West Division is made a lot of who they are.
Old boy's son. You know his name?
Brian Ferentz.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Robert Perry next. I feel the new assistant coach of MSU basketball is underappreciated. He's a big man specialist, along with being a very talented recruiter who brings in a different perspective.
Yeah, Saddi Washington. I think it's a really good hire, and I think in a lot of ways it would have been a shame if him being at Michigan would have gotten in the way of it, right, for the last 8 years. Because, his past is too varied, really, to be like a Michigan man. He's the son of Stan Washington, who was an MSU all-time great, Lansing Sexton grad, played at Western, really cut his teeth with Greg Campy and built the Oakland program, and then joined John Beilein's staff. Because, not only is he's going to work with the big men along with Austin Thornton, I think they could use a new voice. But the other thing is, he's recruited and coached against Michigan State, and I always think that's helpful perspective. This is a guy who Isaiah Livers recruited him, Hunter Dickinson, Kobe Buffkin. These are all Saddi Washington recruits. The guy is recruited at a very high level. He also he understood the mid-major level and how to recruit that when he was at Oakland. I think it's a really, really strong hire. I don't think they could have done better without. There's probably somebody out there who's also would have been a fantastic hire, but he is a very smart hire, and I think it's good for him too because look, his family is pretty happy in the state of Michigan. This is where they've been the entire time, and they don't have to leave either.
Chris Eastlick next. I'm completely turned off from any casual interest in the WNBA because of both sides of the Caitlin Clark debate. Talk about fumbling an incredible opportunity all the way around. And bonus, seeing social media rankings of tough schedules, and once again, MSU football is on it. Can we not be on that list for a year or two? That'd be great.
I don't think it's going to happen in the new Big Ten. You're always going to be out there, L.A. I mean, obviously, it would help if a couple of those programs sunk a little bit. But you get Oregon on the road, you got Michigan and Ohio State on your roster. I mean, on your schedule. It's
almost
nasty.
impossible.
It's nasty. Yep.
Sunshine Spartan Dan Hurley just made the best decision of his career. And Bake Take, there should be an age limit to drive a car. Anybody over 75 must pass a test every year.
Yeah. I knew
Gift
that was
card
coming.
winner. Sunshine Spartan with a take of the day.
I think there should be limits on both ends that are different. And I do like that in Michigan. Like when we got our driver's license, we could pile up 15 teenagers in a car and there was no rules.
I drove alone when I was 15 to the DMV to get my license.
Which is not supposed to
You were
happen.
allowed to do, well, you can't. I was grandfathered in. You could do it.
Oh, really? You
Yeah.
could drive
It was
to the
after
DMV?
I turned 16 is when you had to, drive with your parents, keep a log, all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't. It was.
It was way too early for me to be driving, for sure.
Teenagers should not be in the cars together. I don't believe anybody under 21 should be in the car
Let's not get
with
crazy.
anybody else under 21. I don't believe it. It's not safe for them.
Now that I'm 45, I can get behind that. But yeah, if I was 21, I'd be hot pissed.
You want me to get really morbid?
Yeah. All right.
Like, how many parents have a dead child that would still be alive if they had not been allowed to drive with another teenager or another
Good
person under
Lord.
21? I'm saying,
It's a Tuesday. It's nice out. What are you doing?
I'm just saying, my law makes sense. It's
I know it
inconvenient,
does,
but it makes sense. And I
It's
agree
like one
with
of those PSAs they air during the games. Like, you just can't avoid them.
I'm with Dan.
Good Lord.
With Dan Hurley.
Black lung, they show
yeah,
you.
I'm with you.
Get off cigarettes. You seen that one? Where the lady's talking through the incubator because she smoked when she was pregnant. I'm like, God, can I
smart.
just tell
It's
you,
effective.
I don't smoke. Can I just sign up and never see these?
No, there are a
God
few of
damn.
those. There are a
Just
few
trying to
of
watch
those.
a game.
Yeah, where you're like, I'm not part of this. I don't need
The
can
drunk
I,
driving ones.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like,
No,
shit.
It's not good.
Leave
No.
me alone. And then you just did it.
Apologies.
God, what are we talking about?
Dan Hurley.
Oh yeah,
Good decision. It's about what you want. I mean, if you want to live in LA and your family wants to be out there, and I don't think that's what he wanted. But if you want that, then go coach the Lakers, coach LeBron, see if your thing works. I do think Dan Hurley, at his age, with his acumen and reputation, is going to get other opportunities. And if he wants to be on the East Coast and he wants to coach the Celtics or the Knicks or somebody like that in 5 years, he could do it. So I don't think this is a decision he had to make now. This isn't like just his NBA opportunity. In some ways, Dan Hurley is, this isn't that different than what Izzo was in 2000. Now, he's won 2. But Izzo was the hottest name in the college game in 2000. The Atlanta Hawks offered him the 4 years, $20 million, which back then was a ton. And then they offered, I think Lon Kruger got 4 years, $16 and took it. But that didn't wind up being Izzo's last opportunity either, even though he didn't win another title. He had the Cavs opportunity. He had at least one more good opportunity. And so, if I'm Hurley, I'm patient.
Gavin Haas, it's weird seeing such important stories and events happen over the summer involving college hoops, but it's only a positive for the sport. It makes it easier to buy in on the sport when you have stories like Dan Hurley choosing to stay at UConn instead of taking the Lakers job.
No, I do like it for college basketball. I do. I mean, I like right now in this time where it feels like college sports are a drag to follow at times and people are fleeing a little bit because the jobs aren't as fun. For somebody who's rolling to stay, I mean, it doesn't help everybody else who's trying to compete against them.
And the NBA coaches get fired
so quick.
on a whim. DeUper next. Seeing Torkelson mash in AAA just shows how elite MLB players are. Unlike other pro leagues, you never see a kid go from high school straight to the majors. Even highly drafted rookies need several years in the minors before they can play in the bigs. And Bake Take. We'll find out what Max Bulla did in Pasadena before we get this elusive Connor Stallion expose.
I would be, unless Max Bulla does some interview I'm not expecting, I would say you're wrong on this, DeUper. The Connor Stallion thing I think will happen this
But it's
this
closer
summer.
than you might think.
Connor Stallion's thing will happen this summer.
Has anyone called Max Bulla? Maybe
He's
just
at
no
Notre
one's
Dame
called
right
him.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey, man, what happened in Pasadena?
no, it would be a good.
If he hangs up on you.
It'd be a good story. It's just, I don't think he's going to do it, and he's not going to do it. Why? He's like, the problem now is that Max Bull has decided to get into college coaching.
Yeah.
So he's at Notre Dame. he doesn't need that story coming out why he's like the linebackers coach. At some point, he'll have to answer to that.
Maybe the story's not that great.
That too.
You know what I mean? Like, what if he waits 20 years and we hear this and we're like, oh, my God, that's like remember Graham's oatmeal story? It rivals that.
When you listen back to the oatmeal story, it's not.
I do it often.
Do you when you want to fall asleep? I don't know if it would work. It was a story worth telling, by the way, presented by Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing. And if you want to get a trivia team together on Tuesday nights, great place for trivia, great place for a beer with a friend. I'm planning to meet Matt Mancarini there in a day or so.
Matt Mancarini.
And we'll probably have an American Stout or two. He actually lives right above Midtown Brewing Company. That house should be worth. I shouldn't tell people that they're going to hang out there.
Give him his Soch number while you're at it.
He lives near it. I shouldn't say right above. He lives near it. But you talk about prime real estate, right above.
We might actually have to fix that in post.
Yeah, shit. Sorry.
You have the exact address by any chance?
Yeah, well, it's not 402 South Washington. That is the exact address of our friends at Midtown Brewing Company.
Kevin from Rochester Hills, next, number 1. If social media didn't exist, no one would know about Caitlin Clark. 2. Javi Baez and Scooball will be a package deal and traded at the deadline. And 3, Tiger Woods will finish in the top 10 of the U.S. Open, and Scotty will miss the cut.
That's good.
That's a baked take.
That is definitely baked.
Now, what if Scooball gets traded and Javi's the piece that goes with him? Would Tiger fans care a little less?
No, you can't.
Because he's got, 2 more years, Baez? I don't want to see him for 2 more years.
Yeah, I mean, but you still don't want to give up Scooball. You can deal with you'd rather deal with Baez and have Scooball, unless.
How about Flaherty and Baez?
The whole point is this: if they trade Scooball and they get a million things for him and do it this year, and they're able to, and the problem is so many of their trades. This is why Tiger fans are kind of scarred by this stuff. Is so many of their trades, their best players in the past have resulted in prospects who got injured or didn't work out. They need one of those guys, because ultimately when you're trading Scooball for prospects, you're hoping one of those prospects becomes Scooball. And if you already have Scooball, it better be 2 of those prospects become Scooball. Because, again, there's no salary cap. There's no salary. I don't care how cheap he is. There is no salary cap. No salary cap, Chris. No salary cap.
David Jackson next. It's best if the Tigers are either really good or really bad. If that's so, then any one game is meaningless. The season won't change its outcome, but when you're middling at 500, every loss is a tragedy, and every win feels like a precursor to a winning streak. Total stress. Bake take. Advanced metric statistics are ass. WAR and WPA can fuck off. Give me the batting average, ERA, home runs, and the normal stats that were good enough for Ernie Harwell. Moneyball sucked.
David,
like launch angles,
giving away his age here. No, I do believe things like OPS. There are areas, there are elements of it that I think are important. I also think it's important that you have people who sort of understand, because I do think clutch hitting and hitting with in big moments and those things are harder to measure statistically. And what somebody has, I don't know. I think there's got to be a mix of it. And but
barrel rate or whatever.
Yeah, but ultimately a lot of that stuff helps now, and it helps you build a team.
Ken Chu, non-revenue sports athletes will eventually sue for more money.
I don't know what the argument would be. Like, I don't even understand the Dartmouth basketball team that won like 6 games and they formed a union. Like, what was the argument?
Yeah.
What was the argument? Like,
because what else are we going to do?
If I'm Dartmouth, I come down and like, you know what? We're just going to cut all of you. Because baseline here is, first of all, we don't make money on our basketball program. Secondly, there should be a baseline of 10 games for anybody to unionize. You got to win 10. If you don't win 10, you can't be a union. You can't sue. You got to be grateful for your scholarship, or you should just give some of it back.
Richard Kane, the non-power schools, which were not defendants in the House lawsuit, ought to tell the power schools and the NCAA to fuck off and only pay damages proportional to the TV revenue they got.
It would be interesting if I don't think those schools are gonna do that. Because what happened, what people need to understand was that the House versus the NCAA lawsuit, the non-revs are paying a fairly large chunk of the percentage. The thing is, what part of the deal is, basically they're going to get the NCAA tournament untouched for a decade. And they're going to get to be part of that. I don't think it's enough, but I think because of the way the deal is, they're going to get to be part of this system longer before the Big Ten and the SEC and their greed ultimately take over. And hopefully, guys like Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti are long gone, and their selfishness is no longer part of the landscape by the time some of these decisions have to be made in 7-8 years.
Jonathan B. next. No one, players, TV execs, conference presidents, is incentivized to care about the long-term health of college sports. It's the same as CEOs with golden parachutes after they run companies into the ground. Fans are the only ones who care about 20 years from now. And bonus, about a third of Shakespeare's plays are romantic comedies. No one dies. Happy endings. Just avoid the tragedies and you'll be fine.
Appreciate it, Jonathan B. Now, that's what I've started to realize. I'm going to have to pay more attention when we go to Stratford. And either that or...
You just went. You have to pay more attention?
Well, I mean, to what we're picking. We pick the dates. We pick. We're going to go every year. It's a trip my mom, sister, and I take, and we stay at the same bed and breakfast. We like the person who runs it. And if it's the wrong Shakespeare play, this is where Pure Options can be there for you. If you're going to see Shakespeare and it's Hamlet again, because Hamlet ends the same freaking way every time, or Romeo and Juliet, and they don't, until they get a choose your own adventure version of that in play form. There are books you can buy that are choose your own adventure of those two. I would advise several MGs, go to pureoptions.com, check out their latest deals, some fantastic stuff going on in June. They'll also be at the Pride Fest in Old Town, and also at Juneteenth in Rio Town this month as well.
Fart Soup next. Number one, no effing way Rube had a water heater emergency. He got way too high and couldn't drive his ass to Lansing. And two, on-demand electric water heaters are vastly superior to gas water heaters. Yeah, I bet. No, I've never got too, not during the day to drive here. Believe me, I wish it were the other way around.
On a Sunday watching pro football, you've never gotten too high to leave the house?
To drive here to do the show?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We used to do the show on Sunday nights.
That's true.
Sometimes. I know. Seriously, I can't. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
DMB, you guys need to bring back gift cards. You need us. The people producing the show, June through July, could get brutal without solid takes. And bonus, Couch saying him and Hondo are cool, then segueing to say he is racist was something. It was. Double bonus. Hondo just saw an opportunity to get back in the game. All of the real journalists are too limp-dicked to take on the blue wall and give us Stallion's story. Just waiting for the next stop, 100 July column about a bunch of dead guys.
Noted, DMB. Hondo showing up out of the blue here has been a little interesting, and
it was a segue of the century.
Yeah, I was just pointing out that as soon as Mel showed up, Hondo left. That's all I was pointing out. The gift card thing is in conversation because I do think it's a summer. We need to have some fun with that in the summer.
Yeah. Sports Guy 1919. College football starting early and going later with 2 bye weeks is going to be awesome this year. Give me as many Saturdays of college football as possible. Give Graham 2 pumpkin patch Saturdays this fall.
College football doesn't start earlier this fall. It's the weird year where because Labor Day is early and Thanksgiving is late, and this happens every few years, you get the double bye. It's not actually starting earlier yet. College football will eventually, I think, start earlier because they're going to want to, the way they're going to want to structure the playoff and how late it goes is going to be a little different. And so Thanksgiving weekend will be the week of the Big Ten championship games if they keep championship games. But 2 bye weeks, yeah, it's not. I don't hate it. I know for a lot of MSU fans feels like a lot if you like your MSU Saturdays, but I think the second one is during just about basketball season anyway, and it's not the worst.
Steve, next. Mavs basketball is unwatchable. Stand around and watch Luka dribble? Is this championship basketball in the NBA now?
Yeah, I mean, there's a style of basketball that Luka plays that is less, sharing the other. But Luka's such a freak athlete. I do enjoy it. But you're right. Some people, I understand why some people don't like the Luka style. It's sort of
it's James Harden style.
It's a better version of James Harden, right? Yeah. Is what it is. By the way, let me get the MSU football schedule. I want to check the second bye here. Give me some Hoff. All right. I felt all of Fred Human. So the first bye is October 11th. It's like perfect middle of the fall, and it does suck because that's like a perfect middle of the fall Saturday. But it is still, that's a great pumpkin patch, mid-fall, do something else time. And the second one is November 8th. So, yeah, you're into a little bit of basketball. So, yeah, it's a little chilly then. I don't know if the November 8th one's as much fun. But, yeah, you do get 2 this year. That's, I don't know. I'm sure it's good for the players.
Matt C. next. Jonathan Smith is the best coach in the Big Ten. Ryan Day has never built a program, and Ohio State has declined so bad that they let a cheating Michigan team own them.
Matt C. with the from the top rope.
Yeah. You asked for a hot take.
Yeah.
Matt C. is going to give it to you.
Well, and what would be interesting about, first of all, there are different ways of evaluating coaches. There are coaches who are great ball coaches, and there are coaches who are great recruiters, and there are coaches who are great at everything and managing a roster, and it takes a lot to run a college program. So we're going to, and Jonathan Smith's obviously done it at a pretty high level at Oregon State. We're going to see if he's got another gear in him in this modern world.
Sam the Man next. The complete degradation of college athletics, along with the current state of both the Tigers and Pistons, will cause Jason to do a complete 180 in regards to soccer. You will become a diehard fan of the BSC Young Boys of the Swiss Super League.
If there's ever going to be a team, it's going to be the Young Boys that you jump on.
I thought they were Atlanta.
No, that's
Atlanta.
No, that's a different team.
But aren't they the Young Boys?
No.
The Proud Boys.
Nope.
Young Boys? No. All right.
Yeah.
It's not happening, though. I can't do it.
The Euros are going to be fun. You sure? You don't want to join in?
Nah.
Okay. All right. I'll be honest. I'll watch a lot more Euros than I will Olympics.
All right. Mojo Jojo, number 1, I will pay for Jason and T to see Twisters. I need Rube to see his baked take come to fruition on screen while baked himself, of course. All right. Let's go. 2, Graham needs to have Saddi Washington on this summer, but no basketball talk, only Kalamazoo as a topic. And 3, Jason, can we get a Chad Latz cover of Get It Sexy by Sexy Red or Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter as Graham's podcast summer walk-up song? Yeah, you got to ask Chad.
Chad will do it, though.
Yeah, he'll do it.
Yeah, he'll happily
$10.
He'll happily do it.
Studio C, by the way. Let's go for Twister.
Yeah, no,
It's been a minute. When's it come out?
Is it already out? Hold on.
All right,
Hold on.
Now off.
Come on.
The city's backside, I see the stars come out of the sky. Yeah, the bright and hollow sky.
Yeah, it's already playing. It's like out right now.
Shit.
Yeah, there's a showing at 5:30 tonight.
Got a thing.
Okay.
Can't do it tonight. TT, up next, I watched Pistol Pete movie from 1991 because my wife wanted to show the kids. Watching it, I was wondering what Jason's rating was. Now, the weird take. His son died about an hour later at age 40. 42, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, because he died at age 40. Pistol Pete did. I love that movie, especially when I was a kid. Pistol Pete was everything 15-year-old Rube. I loved everything about Pistol Pete. So shout out to your wife for playing that for the kids. I have not seen it. I definitely will. You know what? I'm going to watch that at 5:30. The Pistol Pete movie from 19. Have you seen it?
I've never have.
Oh,
I should watch it. Yeah, I'll put it on the list.
All right, Adam. Graham, column idea. For a football Saturday, you act as an attendant in the MSU men's bathroom. You hand out mints, lather up some soap, etc. That would really turn some heads. We could call it turn your head and trough or eye contact encouraged. Sounds like if you lost a bet, that would.
This doesn't sound like a column idea. I don't really know where I'd
What's
go
the
with this
column?
I need
checking out mules.
Right. What am I?
Don't look at my mule.
I mean, it's a funny lead. It's a great headline, but I don't know.
Dude, it'd be your highest clicked.
But I don't know how I sustain that column.
It doesn't matter. Just you in front of a trough with like a pen and paper, staring at mules.
Handing out. No, that's not. He's saying hand out mints. It's like the bathroom attendant. I'd be
sorry.
the attendant.
You're okay.
I'm not staring at men and while they pee. That's not going to work. It's not even the column idea.
It's 2024. Come on. JD, a potential sweeping by Michigan of MSU in the upcoming basketball season would push the final blind Izzo defenders into the serious changes need to be made category. Bonus. You guys can have Hondo on your show, but only if Jason promises to play Lats drops the entire time Hondo talks.
I don't think he'd know what was happening.
Come on.
I really don't have that many Hondo or Lats drops. I'd have to get some more.
But to the point on if they lose to Michigan twice, like people would be upset. But if they win like 15 Big Ten games and lose to Michigan twice, people the rest of the season will matter just as much.
I'm not talking about Michigan.
Thomas Zambiasi next. The shift to streaming versus cable has been just as bad for college and pro sports as the big TV contracts. Hard to know when anything is on anymore. And bonus, if Graham didn't get breakfast at Features in Stratford, he's missing out. There's a stack of pancakes with ice cream on top.
So here's the problem.
Your wife was there.
No, it's part of Stratford is, and I wonder how breakfast places do there because I guess there are hotels as well, but bed and breakfast are the big thing. And we stay at a bed and breakfast, and the woman there, Lois, makes a fantastic breakfast. And so breakfast is taken care of. It's part of the package. It's phenomenal. And
so weird.
Otherwise, I'd like to.
So she makes you breakfast?
Have you ever been to a bed and breakfast?
Yeah,
that's part of the deal. They make you breakfast.
They didn't make us. I didn't want it.
Okay, yeah, no. It would be rude not to have it while you're there because, like in this bed and breakfast, there are occasionally
I didn't want
one
part of any of it. So
couple, yeah, right,
yeah. It's
no.
all weird. It's too weird for me. Spartan Dog 97. Public college athletic departments should accept all the private equity money they can get their hands on because the state governments will bail them out when it all goes sideways, like it inevitably will. That should be athletic directors' only lesson takeaway from the 2008 financial crisis.
You're probably right that the state legislatures would step in and try to help here. Although these colleges some of them have, I don't know. Some places would be helped more than others, just based on the lack of money flowing into education and especially at certain schools. Yeah, I think it's something you got to be careful with. You're better off trying, and MSU's in a good place in this sense, but you're better off trying to figure out how to pay for it all yourself.
Varsity softball dad. Guess I should have checked the group Croatia was in before making a Euros feature bet on them. How do we feel about Germany winning?
I like Germany a little bit. I have a little bit of money. Germany's like 6-1 to win it. I mean, it's one of those events, the Euros, which usually the Euro soccer tournament, for people who don't know what it is. It's basically the World Cup, but just Europe.
Are the young boys of Atlanta in
they
there?
Are not in there. But it's one of those where the big boys usually win. So in Croatia's, I think, getting a little long in the tooth is a roster. So I don't like Croatia all that much. But I will have 40 or 50 bets going on the Euros. And you know what? If we have Harry on this week, and we probably should with the U.S. Open, we'll figure that out because I may have some Euros bets to give you.
Harry, I got a 9-part parlay for you. Bo McJunkins, number one, reporters like the Athletics' Nicole Auerbach and Chris Vanini saying, I thought college sports were dead, in response to Hurley staying, are disingenuous, and they know it. The Lakers are a bad job right now, and one single guy staying at a dynasty spot doesn't change the problems in college sports.
So this was in a response, I think, to a Pat Forty's column, and
but it's a good story still, though, for college sports. Right?
Yeah, but about it was not great for college sports if he left. I thought it was over the top, the response to it. They're sort of mocking that take, and you know what? Every take is it's fair to mock any take you want.